一方で検診に向けて
Sunday, sometime in May, the clouds bringing rain and the cops came again. We were staying up late despite the neighbors' complaints, playing records. We lit a fire up back. I got a bit high, so I passed out inside till the sun rise. Why do I know what this is for? You gotta let me in on the secrets whenever I lay down to sleep. I don't remember my dreams. Why am I so fucking bored? You gotta give me something to work with. Why can't I stay up on my feet? Feels like I'm stuck on repeat. I thought, yeah, there might have been more than fighting again with the landlord. These doors never close and the ceiling is cracked and it's filling with mold. I can't live here anymore. I want to explore. Why don't I know what this is for? You gotta let me in on the secrets whenever I lay down to sleep. I don't remember my dreams. Why am I so fucking bored? You gotta give me something to work with. Why can't I stay up on my feet? Feels like I'm stuck on repeat. We were always on the outside, staring through the window, seeing what it looks like. Now we're here, we're sat in a room. There's some guys wearing suits, they're trying to read us the rules. Why don't I know what this is for? You gotta let me in on the secrets whenever I lay down to sleep. I don't remember my dreams. Why am I so fucking bored? You gotta give me something to work with. Why can't I stay up on my feet? Feels like I'm stuck on repeat.
NHK からのご案内です。これより受信料制
インサイドに来たショート取りました。高田掴んでスリーアウト。やや詰まってたでしょうか。そうですね。前半大会序盤はこう試合間隔が空いていた中で試合が7打数の3
大丈夫？あ、高さがなに
何しよるな、に、いき、ない、ないと。ないとってあれもらってないの。新しい交換用のがないんやけどさ。なんでな。毎日交換されよる。
初めてのランナー四死球でデッドボールで出しましたけれども、3回表こういう形が0点に終わっています。
ちょっと失礼します。はい。OK なんですが、ちょっと深爪多いですね。男性結構多いんですよね。やっぱりちょっと深爪ですね。はい。ヒリヒリしてるもん、指。だいぶ深い。だいぶ深い。これからもですね、爪の正しい。
Knee-jerk reaction is fight or flight. First sign of color, I run and hide. But you came like rain on a summer night, and I think you're rewiring my mind. I've been taking cover under my skin, but I wanna step outside and take it all in. 'Cause baby, it's like a light storm to be yours. Thunder crashing till the sky's torn. You're like a light storm, a light storm. Oh. Touching on some kind of high. You're painting scenes on my storyline, so carry me where you like. I'm used to taking cover under my skin, but I wanna step outside and take it all in. 'Cause baby, it's like a light storm to be yours, finding freedom in the downpour. You're like a light storm, a light storm. Oh, oh, a light storm. Baby, it's like a light storm to be yours. Thunder crashing till the sky's torn. You're like a light storm, a light storm. Oh, oh, oh. bring me to life. One touch and I'm on some kind of high. You're painting scenes on my storyline, so carry me where you like. I'm used to taking cover under my skin, but I wanna step outside and take it all in. 'Cause baby, it's like a light storm